First contact and betrayal. The stars twinkled in the vast expanse of space as humanity's first interstellar exploration vessel, the UES Horizon, cruised through an uncharted solar system. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the holographic displays surrounding her. After months of travel, they had finally detected signs of an advanced civilization. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Lieutenant Wei Chen announced, his fingers dancing over the console. "It's not on any frequency we've used before." Rodriguez straightened her uniform. "This is it, people. First contact. Let's make history." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a being unlike anything they had ever seen. Its skin was a shimmering blue-green, with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on its face. When it spoke, its voice resonated with a musical quality that the ship's translators struggled to interpret. "Greetings, travelers. I am High Chancellor Zarkon of the Zarkonian Empire. We welcome you to our space." Over the next few weeks, the crew of the Horizon engaged in a cultural exchange with the Zarkonians. They learned of a vast empire spanning hundreds of star systems, with technology far beyond Earth's capabilities. The Zarkonians seemed eager to share their knowledge, offering advancements in medicine, energy production, and faster-than-light travel. Back on Earth, governments and corporations scrambled to prepare for a new era of interstellar relations. Trade agreements were drafted, cultural attaches were appointed, and a grand ceremony was planned to officially welcome the Zarkonians to the Sol system. On the day of the ceremony, millions watched as the sleek Zarkonian ships descended through Earth's atmosphere, landing in a specially constructed spaceport outside of New Geneva. High Chancellor Zarkon emerged, resplendent in flowing robes that seemed to change color with every movement. United Earth President Adebayo stepped forward, extending his hand in the universal gesture of peace. "On behalf of humanity, we welcome you to Earth, High Chancellor." Zarkon's upper eyes blinked slowly as he regarded the human's outstretched hand. Then, with a fluid motion, he grasped it firmly. "We look forward to a long and prosperous relationship between our peoples." As the months passed, Zarkonian technology began to transform human society. Clean energy plants sprung up across the globe, eliminating pollution almost overnight. Diseases once thought incurable were wiped out by advanced medical techniques. Humanity's first extrasolar colony was established with Zarkonian assistance, a testament to the seemingly bright future ahead. But not everyone was convinced. Dr. Samantha Cole, a xenobiologist working closely with the Zarkonians, noticed discrepancies in their behavior. "They're hiding something," she confided to her colleague, Dr. James Wong. "Their technology, it's not just advanced, it's almost like they're deliberately holding back." Wong scoffed. "Come on, Sam. Why would they do that? They've given us more than we could have ever dreamed of." Before Cole could voice her suspicions further, alarms blared throughout the research facility. The ground shook as explosions rocked the building. "What the hell?" Wong shouted, steadying himself against a desk. Cole's face paled as she looked out the window. Zarkonian ships, different from the sleek diplomatic vessels they had seen before, filled the sky. These were clearly warships, raining destruction on the helpless city below. Across the globe, similar scenes unfolded. The Zarkonian embassy in New Geneva transformed into a fortress, energy shields springing to life as troops poured out. Orbital defense platforms, gifts from the Zarkonians, turned their weapons earthward instead of protecting against external threats. In low Earth orbit, the fledgling United Earth Defense Fleet found itself outgunned and outmaneuvered. Ships that had once been top of the line were swatted aside like insects by Zarkonian cruisers. Admiral Viktor Petrov watched in horror from the bridge of the UES Defiant as Earth burned below. "All ships, fall back to Rally Point Alpha," he ordered, his voice hoarse. "We can't win this fight here." As the remnants of humanity's fleet retreated, Zarkonian ships landed across the globe. Their troops, encased in armor that seemed to adapt to any environment, met little resistance from Earth's military forces. In the smoldering ruins of New Geneva, High Chancellor Zarkon addressed the conquered planet. His once melodious voice now dripped with contempt. "Humans of Earth, your planet and all its resources now belong to the Zarkonian Empire. Resistance is futile. Submit, and you may yet have a place in our glorious future." Underground, in hardened bunkers designed to withstand nuclear war, Earth's remaining leaders gathered. President Adebayo, his face ashen and his suit covered in dust, addressed the grim assembly. "We've been betrayed, manipulated, and very nearly destroyed," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But we are not beaten. Humanity has faced extinction before, and we've always found a way to survive. We will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. General Maria Santos, her arm in a makeshift sling, stepped forward. "Mr. President, I have reports from our off-world colonies. The Zarkonians hit them hard, but some have managed to go dark. We still have footholds out there." Dr. Cole, who had barely escaped the destruction of her research facility, spoke up. "Sir, I believe I know why the Zarkonians attacked. They're not just after our resources. They're afraid of us." All eyes turned to her as she continued. "In my research, I discovered that humans have a unique genetic structure. We adapt faster, learn quicker than any species the Zarkonians have encountered. Given time and access to their technology, we could surpass them. They're trying to crush us before we become a threat." President Adebayo's eyes hardened with resolve. "Then we'll show them their right to fear us. Humanity doesn't negotiate with empires. We annihilate them. As of this moment, we are at war, and we will not rest until Earth is free and the Zarkonian threat is eliminated." As the impromptu War Council began to form plans, reports trickled in from around the world. Pockets of resistance were forming, taking advantage of Earth's varied terrain to wage guerrilla warfare against the invaders. In orbit, the crew of the International Space Station, overlooked in the initial assault, began working on ways to sabotage Zarkonian communications. In a secret facility deep beneath the Antarctic ice, a team of scientists led by Dr. Wong pored over Zarkonian technology captured in the early days of the invasion. "If we can reverse engineer their shields," he muttered, "we might stand a chance." Across the stars, on humanity's farthest colony, a young lieutenant named Alex Martinez rallied the survivors. "Earth has fallen," he told the scared colonists, "but we are still here. We will be the spark that lights the fire of rebellion across the galaxy." As the first terrible day of the war drew to a close, humanity faced its darkest hour. But in the depths of despair, a fierce determination took root. The Zarkonians had made a grave mistake. They had revealed their true nature, and in doing so, they had awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity would not go quietly into the night. They would fight, they would endure, and they would show the galaxy why Earth doesn't negotiate with empires. They annihilate them. The war for Earth's survival had begun, and the Zarkonians were about to learn that underestimating humanity was the last mistake they would ever make. The human resistance rises. 6 months after the devastating Zarkonian invasion, Earth was a changed world. Sprawling alien fortresses dotted the landscape, their energy shields shimmering against the backdrop of ruined cities. Massive harvesting operations stripped the planet of its resources, leaving vast scars across continents. But beneath the surface, in the shadows of mountains and the depths of forests, humanity's spirit remained unbroken. In the labyrinthine caves of the Rocky Mountains, General Maria Santos surveyed a makeshift war room. Holographic displays flickered, showing the latest intelligence gathered from resistance cells worldwide. Her eyes settled on a blinking red dot in what was once Eastern Europe. "Status report on Operation Firefly," she commanded. A young lieutenant stepped forward. "Ma'am, Firefly was a success. The resistance cell in Prague managed to disable a Zarkonian communication relay. We estimate it will take them at least 48 hours to restore full functionality in that sector. Santos nodded, a grim smile on her face. Good. That'll buy our people in the region some breathing room. Any word from the Luna base? The lieutenant's expression darkened. Still nothing, ma'am. We have to assume it's been compromised. As they discussed further strategies, an alarm blared through the cavern. Incoming transmission from Foxhound, a communications officer announced. The main screen lit up, revealing the dust-streaked face of Dr. Samantha Cole. "General, we've made a breakthrough," she said, her eyes gleaming with excitement despite the visible exhaustion. "We've managed to crack the Zarkonian neural interface." Santos leaned forward, her interest piqued. "Explain." "Their combat armor," Cole continued. "It's not just protection. It's directly linked to their nervous system. We found a way to disrupt that link. In simulations, it renders their elite troops practically helpless." For the first time in months, Santos felt a glimmer of hope. "How soon can we weaponize this?" "We're working on a prototype now. Give us 2 weeks, and we'll have something field-ready." As the transmission ended, Santos turned to her staff. "This could be the game-changer we've been waiting for. Prepare our strike teams. In 2 weeks, we launch Operation Achilles." Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, in the flooded ruins of London, a different kind of resistance was taking shape. Jack Harper, once a brilliant software engineer, now led a team of hackers in a constant digital war against the Zarkonian information network. "They're adapting faster than we anticipated," Harper muttered, his fingers flying across a jury-rigged keyboard. "But so are we." With a final keystroke, he sat back, a look of satisfaction on his face. "Got it. Their drones in the sector will be blind for the next hour." His second-in-command, Zara, grinned. "Perfect timing. The scavenging team is already on the move." As darkness fell, a group of resistance fighters moved silently through the abandoned streets of London. Led by former Royal Marine Thomas Bulldog Jenkins, they made their way to a Zarkonian supply depot. "Remember," Jenkins whispered, "we're after their portable shield generators. Anything else is secondary." The team worked quickly, disabling alarms and slipping past the reduced guard presence. Thanks to Harper's hack, the normally vigilant security drones hung motionless in the air. As they loaded the precious shield generators onto their stealth skiff, an ear-splitting shriek filled the air. The drones had come back online earlier than expected. "Move, move, move," Jenkins roared, providing covering fire as his team scrambled aboard the skiff. They sped away, weaving through the flooded streets as Zarkonian patrols gave chase. Just when it seemed they might be cornered, the skiff dove into the murky Thames, activating its submersible mode. Back at the Resistance hideout, Harper greeted the returning team. "Cutting it a bit close, weren't you?" he quipped, helping to unload the stolen tech. Jenkins clapped him on the shoulder. "Had to give you hackers something to improve on, didn't we?" Across the globe, similar scenes played out. In the dense jungles of Brazil, guerrilla fighters led by Maria Oliveira staged daring raids on Zarkonian mining operations. In the vast Australian outback, Aboriginal trackers guided resistance groups past alien patrols, using ancient knowledge of the land to remain undetected. But it wasn't just on Earth that humanity fought back. On Mars, the fledgling colony had gone dark, faking its own destruction. Deep underground, colonists worked tirelessly to adapt their terraform technology into weapons. Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, the lead scientist of the Mars project, addressed the Colony Council. "We've successfully modified the atmosphere processors. When activated, they'll release a gas that's harmless to humans, but highly corrosive to Zarkonian biology." Colony leader Isham Kruma nodded solemnly. "Excellent work, Doctor. But remember, this is a weapon of last resort. We use it only if they discover us." In the asteroid belt, what remained of Earth's space fleet played a deadly game of cat and mouse with Zarkonian patrols. Admiral Viktor Petrov, commanding from the battered but unbowed UES Defiant, had turned the belt into a treacherous battlefield. Status on Operation Trojan. Petrov asked his XO. Sir, the modified asteroids are in position. We're ready to initiate on your command. Petrov allowed himself a small smile. Commence Operation Trojan. Across the belt, seemingly innocuous asteroids suddenly came to life. Thrusters fired, sending them on a collision course with key Zarkonian supply lines. As the alien ships moved to intercept, the asteroids split open, revealing they were hollow and filled with explosive charges and EMP devices. The resulting chaos allowed Petrov's fleet to strike, destroying several Zarkonian cruisers before disappearing back into the asteroid field. On Earth, as news of these victories spread through the resistance network, morale soared. Humanity was bloody but unbowed, their innovative tactics keeping the technologically superior Zarkonians off balance. In her Rocky Mountain headquarters, General Santos received the reports with grim satisfaction. But she knew these were just the opening moves in a long, grueling war. We've surprised them, she told her staff. Now we need to press our advantage. It's time to take the fight to the next level. As if in answer to her words, a junior officer burst into the room. General, we're receiving a transmission from Luna Base. The main screen flickered to life, revealing a face Santos had feared she'd never see again. It was Alex Martinez, the young lieutenant who had rallied the off-world colonies. General, Martinez said, his voice filled with determination. Luna Base is secure. And we got something that's going to change everything. As Martinez began to explain, Santos felt a surge of hope. The resistance had proven humanity's resourcefulness and will to survive. Now, with this new development, they had a chance to do more than just resist. They could win. The war for Earth's freedom was far from over, but humanity had shown that they were far from defeated. The Zarkonians had awakened a sleeping giant, and now they would face the full fury of a species fighting for its very existence. Technological breakthrough. The lunar landscape was a stark contrast to the war-torn Earth visible in the distance. Inside the restored Luna Base, a hive of activity buzzed as scientists and engineers worked tirelessly on a project that could turn the tide of the war. Lieutenant Alex Martinez led General Santos through the facility, his excitement barely contained. We call it Project Prometheus, he explained as they entered a vast chamber. In the center stood a sleek spacecraft unlike anything Santos had ever seen. Its hull seemed to shimmer, almost as if it wasn't entirely there. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the lead scientist, approached them. General, what you're looking at is the culmination of years of theoretical work and months of practical application. We've successfully reverse-engineered and improved upon the Zarkonian phase shift technology. Santos' eyes widened. You mean? Yes, Martinez confirmed. We can now phase our ships partially out of normal spacetime. It makes us nearly invisible to Zarkonian sensors and allows us to pass through solid matter. The implications were staggering. With this technology, human ships could strike from anywhere, bypass any defense, and disappear before the enemy could respond. How soon can we implement this on a larger scale? Santos asked, her mind already racing with tactical possibilities. Dr. Tanaka consulted her datapad. We can outfit the remaining Earth fleet within a month. But there's more. She gestured to a smaller device on a nearby workbench. We've also developed personal phase shift devices. They're not as powerful as the ship-based version, but they'll allow our ground forces to pass through walls and Zarkonian energy shields. Santos felt a surge of hope she hadn't experienced since before the invasion. This changes everything. Well done, all of you. As they discussed implementation plans, an alarm blared through the base. Zarkonian patrol incoming. A voice announced over the intercom. Martinez tensed, but Dr. Tanaka remained calm. Don't worry, she said with a smile. They can't detect us. Watch. On a large screen, they observed a Zarkonian cruiser pass by the moon. Its sensors swept the area, passing right through the base without registering anything unusual. Incredible, Santos breathed. Over the next few weeks, Operation Prometheus went into full effect. The Resistance's remaining ships were outfitted with the new phase shift drives, while production of personal devices ramped up for special forces. On Earth, the Resistance prepared for a series of coordinated strikes designed to test the new technology and throw the Zarkonians into disarray. In what was once downtown Tokyo, now a Zarkonian stronghold, a team led by Major Kenji Sato prepared for their mission. They each wore sleek suits integrated with the phase shift devices. Remember, Sato briefed his team, "We're here to gather intelligence and sabotage their central command node. No unnecessary engagements." With a nod, Sato activated his device. There was a brief tingling sensation, and suddenly the world looked slightly out of focus. He stepped forward, passing right through the Zarkonian energy barrier, as if it wasn't there. The team moved silently through the alien fortress, bypassing patrols and security measures with ease. They'd reached the central command center, a vast room filled with holographic displays and alien technology. Sato approached the main console, inserting a data spike developed by Harper's hacker team. As the virus began to wreak havoc on the Zarkonian systems, alarms blared. "Time to go," Sato ordered. The team reactivated their phase shift devices and slipped away, leaving chaos in their wake. Similar scenes played out across the globe. In Rio de Janeiro, Resistance fighters sabotaged a Zarkonian weapons factory. In Cairo, a team extracted high-value human prisoners from an alien detention center. Each operation was a resounding success, with minimal human casualties. In orbit, Admiral Petrov led a daring assault on the Zarkonian fleet guarding Earth. The UEA's Defiant and its sister ships phased in and out of normal space, appearing seemingly out of nowhere to unleash devastating attacks before vanishing again. "Target their flagship," Petrov commanded, a fierce grin on his face. "Let's show them what humanity can do." The Defiant phased directly inside the Zarkonian dreadnought shields. For a moment, both ships occupied the same space, their matter intersecting. Then the Defiant phased back fully, unleashing its entire weapons array point-blank into the alien vessel's core. The resulting explosion lit up Earth's orbit like a second sun. As the Zarkonian fleet fell into disarray, Petrov's ships pressed their advantage, inflicting heavy losses before disappearing into the void. Back on Luna Base, General Santos watched the reports flood in. For the first time since the invasion, the Zarkonians were on the defensive, but she knew better than to get complacent. "They'll adapt," she warned her staff. "We need to press our advantage while we have it." As if on cue, a priority transmission came through. It was Dr. Cole, her face grim despite the recent victories. "General, we've intercepted and decoded Zarkonian communications. They're calling for reinforcements, and something else. They refer to it as the World Breaker." A chill ran down Santos's spine. "What is it?" Cole shook her head. "We're not sure, but based on the data, it appears to be some kind of superweapon. If they deploy it, Earth might not survive." Santos's mind raced. They had the advantage now, but for how long? And could their new technology stand up against whatever this world breaker was? "We need more information," she decided. "Prepare a stealth team. We're going to infiltrate Zarkonian High Command and find out exactly what we're dealing with." As preparations began for the most daring mission yet, humanity stood at a crossroads. Their technological breakthrough had given them hope, but the looming threat of the world breaker cast a shadow over their victories. The war had entered a new phase, and the stakes were higher than ever. Humanity had proven they could fight back, but could they save their world from total annihilation? As the Earth turned below, scared but unbroken, the Resistance steeled itself for the challenges ahead. They had come too far, sacrificed too much, to falter now. Whatever the Zarkonians threw at them, humanity would face it head-on. For they were no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting for the right to reclaim their world and their future. The battle for Earth. The tension in the war room was palpable as General Santos briefed the assembled leaders of the resistance. Holographic displays showed the latest intelligence gathered on this Arcanian world breaker. "It's worse than we thought," Santos began, her voice grave. "The world breaker isn't just a weapon. It's a massive ship capable of literally cracking a planet's crust." Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Dr. Cole stepped forward, bringing up detailed schematics. "Our infiltration team managed to extract this data at great cost. The world breaker works by generating a gravitational singularity. It can tear a planet apart from the inside out." Admiral Petrov, his hologram flickering from his position in orbit, spoke up. "How long do we have?" "Intelligence suggests it will arrive in Earth's orbit within 72 hours, Santos replied. The room erupted in a cacophony of voices, fear and desperation evident in every word. Santos raised her hand, silencing the chaos. "We have one chance," she said firmly. "One opportunity to save our world and end this war. We're going to take the fight to them in a way they'll never expect." As Santos outlined the plan, a mix of hope and trepidation filled the room. It was audacious, perhaps even suicidal, but it was the only option they had. Preparations began immediately. Every resistance cell, every hidden base, every surviving military unit was mobilized. This would be humanity's final stand. In orbit, Admiral Petrov's fleet began to gather. Ships that had been hiding in the asteroid belt, lurking in gas-giant atmospheres, and concealed on the dark side of moons converged on Earth. They were joined by a motley assortment of retrofitted civilian vessels, each armed with whatever weapons could be cobbled together. On the ground, resistance fighters emerged from their hiding places. In the ruins of cities, the depths of forests, and the caverns of mountains, humanity prepared for battle. As the deadline approached, the first signs of the world breaker appeared. It emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, a behemoth that dwarfed even the largest Zarkanian dreadnoughts. Admiral Petrov's voice crackled over the comms. "All ships, assume attack formation. Remember, we're not just fighting for our lives, but for the very ground beneath our feet, for Earth." The human fleet engaged their phase shift drives, disappearing from conventional sensors. They reappeared in the midst of the Zarkonian armada escorting the world breaker, catching them completely off guard. The battle in space was chaos incarnate. Human ships phased in and out of normal space, striking with pinpoint accuracy before vanishing again. Zarkonian vessels exploded silently in the vacuum, taken by surprise by the humans' hit-and-run tactics. But the aliens were quick to adapt. They began firing indiscriminately, filling space with energy beams and plasma bolts, making it dangerous for the human ships to phase back into normal space. On the bridge of the UES Defiant, Admiral Petrov gritted his teeth as his ship shuddered under enemy fire. "We need to punch a hole through their defenses," he ordered. "All ships, focus fire on Sector 7. The human fleet concentrated its assault, slowly but surely creating a gap in the Zarkonian formation. But the cost was high. Ship after ship winked out of existence, their crews making the ultimate sacrifice to give humanity a fighting chance. As the space battle raged, the ground war began. All across the planet, resistance fighters launched coordinated attacks on Zarkonian strongholds. In New York, Paris, Beijing, and 100 other cities, the night sky lit up with explosions and weapons fire. Major Sato led his team through the ruins of Tokyo, their phase shift devices allowing them to bypass Zarkonian defenses. They planted explosive charges at key structural points of the alien fortress dominating the city skyline. "Charges set," Sato reported, falling back to extraction point. Similar reports came in from around the globe. The resistance had struck hard and fast, throwing the Zarkonian ground forces into disarray. But it wasn't enough. The world breaker continued its inexorable approach to Earth, shrugging off the attacks of the human fleet like annoying insects. In the Lunar Command Center, General Santos watched the battle unfold with growing desperation. "Where's Martinez?" she demanded. As if in answer, a new contact appeared on the tactical display. The Prometheus, humanity's most advanced ship, cloaked directly above the World Breaker. Lieutenant Martinez's voice came through, calm despite the chaos around him. "Prometheus in position, General. We're initiating Operation Trojan Horse." The Prometheus fired its main weapon, not at the World Breaker, but at the empty space beside it. A swirling vortex appeared, a manually generated wormhole. "All units, fall back," Santos ordered. "I repeat, all units fall back now." As the human forces disengaged, the Zarkonians pressed their advantage, not realizing the trap they were walking into. The World Breaker, along with a significant portion of the Zarkonian fleet, moved towards Earth, passing through the area where the Prometheus had fired. Suddenly, space itself seemed to twist. The wormhole expanded rapidly, engulfing the World Breaker and nearby ships. In a flash of light that outshone the sun, they vanished. For a moment, everything was silent. Then cheers erupted across every human channel. The World Breaker, along with the heart of the Zarkonian invasion force, had been transported to a distant, empty sector of space, far from any habitable worlds. But the battle wasn't over. Enraged by the loss of their superweapon, the remaining Zarkonian forces fought with renewed fury. The space around Earth became a graveyard of broken ships and shattered dreams. On the ground, the fighting intensified. In the ruins of London, Jack Harper led a desperate defense against waves of Zarkonian shock troops. In the Amazon rainforest, Maria Oliveira's guerrillas engaged in brutal close-quarters combat with alien patrols. As the battle reached its climax, humanity's resolve was tested to its limits. Every victory was paid for in blood. Every advance met with fierce resistance. But slowly, inexorably, the tide began to turn. Admiral Petrov's voice, tired but triumphant, came over the global command channel. "Their fleet is in full retreat. Earth's orbit is secure." On the ground, Zarkonian forces began to surrender, cut off from orbital support and faced with an enemy that could strike from anywhere. As the dust settled and the extent of their victory became clear, a stunned silence fell over the resistance forces. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had defeated an interstellar empire and reclaimed their world. In the Lunar Command Center, General Santos allowed herself a moment of relief before squaring her shoulders. "Well done, everyone," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "But our work isn't finished. We have a world to rebuild." As the sun rose on a liberated Earth, humanity faced an uncertain future. The planet was scared, its cities in ruins, its population decimated. But they had survived. More than that, they had triumphed. The war was over, but the real challenge was just beginning. How would humanity move forward? What would they become in the aftermath of this crucible? As cleanup and reconstruction efforts began, these questions lingered. But one thing was certain. Humanity had proven itself a force to be reckoned with in the galaxy. They had shown that Earth doesn't just resist empires, it annihilates them. The stars, once a source of terror, now beckoned with possibility. And humanity, bloodied but unbowed, stood ready to meet whatever challenges the universe had in store. The final confrontation. 5 years had passed since the battle for Earth. The planet, once ravaged by war, was slowly healing. Green shoots sprouted from blackened Earth, and the ruins of cities were giving way to new gleaming structures that melded human ingenuity with salvage Zarkonian technology. In the rebuilt United Nations headquarters in Geneva, General Maria Santos, now Secretary of Earth Defense, stood before a gathering of world leaders. The mood was tense, anticipatory. "Ladies and gentlemen," Santos began, her voice carrying the weight of her experiences. 5 years ago, we fought for our very existence. Today, we stand at another crossroads. She gestured, and a holographic display flickered to life, showing a vast star map. Our deep space probes have detected significant Zarkonian activity at these coordinates. It appears they're rebuilding, possibly preparing for another assault." Murmurs of concern rippled through the assembly. Santos raised her hand for silence. "But we're not the same world they nearly conquered. We've grown stronger, more unified. And now we have a choice to make. Do we wait for them to come to us again? Or do we take the fight to them?" The debate that followed was heated. Some argued for a preemptive strike, to crush the Zarkonian threat once and for all. Others advocated for a more diplomatic approach, hoping to negotiate a lasting peace. In the end, a compromise was reached. Earth would send an expedition, part diplomatic mission, part show of force, to the heart of Zarkonian space. Their goal: to negotiate from a position of strength and ensure the safety of Earth and its colonies. Preparations began immediately. The UES Horizon, Earth's most advanced ship, was chosen to lead the mission. Its crew represented the best of humanity: scientists, diplomats, and soldiers, all working together. Dr. Samantha Cole, now the foremost expert on Zarkonian biology and culture, was selected to head the diplomatic team. Admiral Viktor Petrov would command the military escort, and piloting the Horizon would be none other than Alex Martinez, the hero of Luna Base, now a seasoned captain. As the day of departure approached, humanity held its breath. This mission could determine the course of human history for generations to come. The launch was broadcast globally. Billions watched as the Horizon and its escort ships rose from Earth's atmosphere, their new phase shift drives glowing with otherworldly energy. "Godspeed," Secretary Santos said softly as the ships disappeared into the depths of space. The journey to Zarkonian space was tense. Every crew member was acutely aware of the weight of their mission. As they approached the coordinates of the detected Zarkonian activity, Captain Martinez's voice rang out over the ship's comms. "All hands, battle stations, we're about to make history. Again." The Horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel, its escorts flanking it in perfect formation. Before them lay a sight that took their breath away: a massive space station, easily dwarfing anything humanity had ever built. "We're being hailed," the communications officer announced, a note of surprise in her voice. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the familiar face: High Chancellor Zarkon, the very same who had orchestrated the invasion of Earth years ago. But he looked different now, older, wearier. "Greetings, humans," Zarkon said, his voice lacking the arrogance it once held. "We've been expecting you." Dr. Cole stepped forward. "High Chancellor, we've come to discuss the future of our species' relationship. We hope to find a peaceful resolution, but make no mistake, we're prepared for any eventuality." Zarkon nodded slowly. "Much has changed since we last met, Dr. Cole. Perhaps it's time we talked, truly talked." What followed were days of intense negotiations. The humans learned that the Zarkonian Empire was not as monolithic as they had believed. The failed invasion of Earth had sparked a civil war, with many Zarkonians questioning the aggressive expansion policies of their leaders. Zarkon, once the face of the invasion, was now the leader of a reform movement, seeking to change the empire from within. But hardliners still held significant power, and the threat of renewed conflict loomed large. As the talks progressed, tensions rose. Hardline elements in the Zarkonian military attempted a coup, trying to seize control of the space station and destroy the human delegation. The resulting battle was chaotic. Human and Zarkonian reformists fought side by side against the hardliners. Captain Martinez's piloting skills were put to the test as he maneuvered the Horizon through a barrage of weapons fire. Admiral Petrov coordinated the defense, his years of experience shining through as he outmaneuvered the enemy ships. Dr. Cole found herself in the thick of the fight, her knowledge of Zarkonian biology proving crucial in developing countermeasures against their weapons. The battle raged for hours, spreading from the space station to nearby planets. It was a crucible that would determine the fate of both species. In a pivotal moment, Martins made a daring decision. Using the Horizon's phase shift drive, he took the ship directly into the heart of the Hardliner's flagship. In a maneuver that would be studied in academies for years to come, he materialized the ship in such a way that it severed the flagship's main power conduits without destroying the vessel. With their leadership in chaos and their main ship disabled, the Hardliner's coup attempt crumbled. Zarkon, with the help of the human delegation, was able to reassert control. As the dust settled, humans and Zarkonians found themselves standing together, having faced a common enemy. It was a moment that would redefine their relationship. In the aftermath, a historic treaty was signed. The Zarkonian Empire would pull back its borders, recognizing Earth and its colonies as sovereign territory. In exchange, humanity would share its phase shift technology, and both species would work together to explore and colonize new worlds. As the Horizon began its journey back to Earth, the crew couldn't help but feel they had witnessed the dawn of a new era. They had gone seeking to prevent a war, and instead had forged an alliance that could reshape the galaxy. Back on Earth, as news of the treaty spread, celebrations erupted across the globe. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire, it had emerged stronger, wiser, and ready to take its place among the stars. Secretary Santos, watching the Horizon's return on a viewscreen, smiled to herself. "We came to annihilate an empire," she mused, "and ended up transforming it instead." As fireworks lit up the night sky, heralding the return of the heroes and the dawn of a new age, the people of Earth looked to the stars with hope rather than fear. The future was uncertain, filled with challenges and opportunities in equal measure. But one thing was clear: humanity was ready. They had faced extinction and emerged victorious. They had turned enemies into allies. And now, united and resilient, they stood poised to write the next chapter in their history, a chapter that would be written not just on Earth, but across the vastness of space. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The age of exploration, cooperation, and growth had begun. And humanity, tempered by adversity and driven by an indomitable spirit, was ready to meet it head-on. As the Horizon touched down, carrying with it the promise of a new future, the crowds cheered. It was more than a homecoming. It was the beginning of humanity's next great adventure.